get you some. Oh yeah. Mate, it's lucky she can cook. Wow.
G'day lovelies, welcome back. Alright, everybody has been asking me for ages to make pasties. Now, I've never made pasties before, but I had a really good idea on how to make the traditional ones like the Balfour's ones, where you get your cubed veggies and you pre-cook it before you put it all in the pastry. Now, I was having a chat with my beautiful neighbour Diane, and I was explaining to her how I was thinking of doing them. And then I asked Diane, does she make pasties? And she said, yeah, all the time. And I said, how do you make them? And she goes, oh, I just grate everything up in a bowl and then put it in the pastry. And I'm like, what? Because I know everybody loves something really easy. So today we're going to do Diane's method of grating. So I thought about everything that I wanted to throw into them, and this is what I've come up with. We need 250 grams of beef mince. Now, if you don't want to use beef mince, you can always use chicken mince or turkey mince or any mince that you want, or if you just want vegetable, leave the mince out. So we're going to be using salt and pepper, Wistershire sauce. I've got 1 brown onion. I've got a few potatoes, so I weighed them up just so you roughly know, which was half a kilo, 500 grams. I've got 1 carrot. Now, I really wanted to get a turnip, but I couldn't get any, so I grabbed a parsnip instead. But if you can get a turnip, it'd be way better, and if they're really big, just use half of one. I've got some pumpkin, so I'm just going to cut a nice big chunk, roughly the same amount as the potato. And I've got some grated cheese. So let's see how we go, eh? How exciting. Now you're going to need an egg for over the top of the pasties, and if you wanted to put sesame seeds on, you can use them as well. And I have no idea how much pastry or how much it's going to make yet, so we'll just make it up as we go, and at the end I'll know exactly what I've used, and then I will write the recipe down below in the description. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab a large bowl, and I'm just going to break up our 250 grams of mince into there. Now I'm going to add salt, and with all those veggies I've added a decent amount, and a good cracking of pepper. And I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of Wistershire sauce. Set that aside for a minute. Now I'm going to grab our 1 brown onion, and I'm going to peel it and chop it up really small and throw it in with the mince. Once we've done that, I'm now going to peel our potatoes and grate them up into a bowl and then throw them in with the mince. Well, who knew when you grate potato it goes frickin' everywhere. Alright, now I'm going to peel the parsnip, cut the ends off, grate it, and then stick it in with everything else. Now hopefully you've got a turnip instead, so you want to peel it, cut the ends off and grate it and throw it in there. Now remember, if it's big, cut it in half and just use half. Now I'm going to peel and grate my 1 large carrot. So I've cleaned up a couple of big chunks of pumpkin because I love pumpkin. And now I'm going to grate that and put it in there. Well, it's going to make up a nice big batch of mix, that's for sure. Okay, now at this stage, if you're just doing veggie ones, or even if you're not, you're doing it with the meat, you can put like a handful of frozen peas and corn in if you wanted to, or anything else you could grate. If you're going to use other veggies, I would chop them so small, because we're not pre-cooking all of this. You want them to be able to cook in the oven, so you don't want anything big. Alright, now I'm going to mix all that together really well. Alright, I mixed it all together for a while, and then I got in there with 1 hand and gently squeezed it gently and mixed it all up with the hand. It made it a lot easier, but definitely stir it through first and then do that just to get the mince through properly. Now I'm going to grab a couple of handfuls of the tasty shredded cheddar. That's optional, you don't have to if you don't want to. I just think it's going to be really nice. So I'm just going to grab 1, 2 handfuls, and we're going to mix that through. So at this stage we want to preheat our ovens to 190 degrees Celsius, and I have got a plain electric oven. I've got a baking tray with some baking paper ready. Now I bought a 10-pack of puff pastry just because I didn't know what we'd need. Now I'm going to grab out 2 sheets of puff pastry, and we'll just do 2 at a time and see how we go. Alright, the first couple of sheets of pastry have thawed out. So traditionally they're cut into circles to make the traditional shape. So the biggest thing I could find was my power mug. So I'm just going to put it on there and really push it in. We're just winging it here and giving you ideas. Alright, and now I'm just going to go around with a knife and cut them. Now I'm just going to pull one off to loosen it, and then I'm just going to fold it in half, but I'm just going to press a little bit down the middle just to give it a crease so I know where the middle is. Now with a teaspoon I'm just going to grab some filling and I'm just going to put it on this one side, and we don't want to overfill them, and push it all in, leaving a border. So with this much filling, to make the mini ones, you would be able to make a heap up. Now you can freeze them before you cook them, or you can freeze them after you cook them. Alright, then we bend it over, push it down. And then I'm going to get a fork and just gently push around down all the edges. Oh, our first little mini pasty, how cute! Or you can just make them into triangles, which I'm going to do because I love pastry, so who cares about the bit of extra. So I'm just doing a crease in it to know where it is. And I'm going this way and doing a crease just so I know. Alright, then I'm going to cut them into quarters. Alright, I'm going to get it and fold that over. And then just press down on the crease just so I know where the halfway mark is. Fill one side with the mix. Okay, so we just want to leave the border around the outside. We're using probably twice the mix doing it this way, and we're not wasting any pastry. Alright, pull it over, push them down, get our fork and gently push all around the edges. Alright, now I'll put them all on the tray. You just want a little gap between them all so they can expand. And with the filling, I'm just going to put some Glad wrap over it and chuck it in the fridge and just keep bringing it out every time we need it. Now we want to get a bowl and whisk 1 egg. Now you can use a pastry brush or a couple of clean fingers and just rub it all over them. Now if you wanted to use sesame seeds or poppy seeds or whatever you wanted, you'd sprinkle them all over now. Now we want to bang them in the oven until beautiful golden brown. Oh my god mate, it smells absolutely amazing in here. So it's been 28 minutes. They look and smell absolutely awesome. Oh, they're hot. So let's open up these bad boys and see how we went. Oh. Can't really see with the pastry. Oh, I don't know if you can see from there. Oh, if I get that pastry out of the way so you can see the filling. Oh, mate. Well, the little round ones are full of pastry, and I can't believe it. They taste like pasties. Alright, so far the triangle ones are my absolute favourite. Oh my god, because you've got more filling in them. They taste so good. We've absolutely fluked it. They're just amazing. So I'm just estimating with the amount of filling there is, you would probably make 30 to 40 of the smaller ones. So you'd probably need 8 to 9 sheets of puff pastry. But I would just get the 10 pack anyway. And today I'm using the Pampas. Now if you were to cook them up and then freeze them, if you're going to reheat them later, I would do it on a really low heat so they don't get too crunchy. Now my favourite way of doing it is to freeze everything before you cook it. So to freeze them, I would put 2 on a piece of Glad wrap. Make sure there is a gap between them so they don't stick together when they're frozen. Put the first sheet over and just sort of tuck it in there, and then just cover them up. So I would probably stack them maybe 3 high in the freezer until they're frozen, and then you can stack them right up just so they don't squash too much. But yeah, my favourite way to freeze sausage rolls is to freeze them like this before they're cooked, because they just taste fresh as when you cook them up when you're ready for them. So I'm absolutely wrapped. I love it when you try something and it works out the first time. It doesn't happen often. So when I make these again, I'm not going to change a thing. I'm going to do them exactly like this. Alright, now I thought we'll try and give a couple of medium ones a go. So I've got my pastry. I'm just going to fold it in half and get the seam. And then I'll just fold this one in half and just press down in a couple of spots to give it a seam. Just so I know roughly, I won't cut it, but just so we know where to fill. Okay. So I will fill up this triangle. Alright, so we want to do it like that. We bring it right up to the seam, but we want to leave our border. And then we want to fold this one over. Press down around the edges. Do the same with the next one. Well, that worked out pretty cool. I would class these as a normal size pasty with a little bit of extra pastry. Alright, do our fork. Alright, well, I'm actually surprised just how big the two were like that. So I was going to do them on 190 thinking they weren't going to be a great deal bigger. But what I might do is turn it down to 180. That way they've got more time to cook the filling before they go brown. So I'll do that now. Alright, now I'm just going to give the oven a minute to go down to the 180. And then we're going to bang them in there till golden brown. Made it smell so good in here. Okay, these ones took 32 minutes at 180. Now, every oven runs different, so make sure you just keep an eye on them the first time you make them and write down how long it takes in your oven. So I'll write this down below. Alright, lovelies, last ones, we're going to make some large ones. So you need to find a bowl that's nice and big. Sit it on there. Grab a knife and cut around it. Okay, just make sure we've cut it all. Yep. Fold it over, get our crease. I could have got a fraction bigger bowl, but that's the biggest, widest one I could find. Alright, now with the filling, I'm going to really pump the filling on this one. And at a guess, I reckon it would make 8 to 10 of these big ones. Which is absolutely amazing. I can't believe how many we've made. This is so good. And these big ones are like a meal on their own. Lots of filling. Over they go. Push down around the edges. Oh, crikey, that's big. Alright, do our fork. So I'm going to leave the oven on 180 and bang them in there. Oh yeah, baby. Alright, these monstrosities took 38 minutes. Well, there you have it, lovelies. Easy pasties. Oh, they are absolutely boorish. I cannot wait for you to give them a crack. Please come back and leave your honest feedback down below in the comments. It's really appreciated. Big shout out to Diane for the idea of the grated veggies. I can't thank you enough. Absolute game changer. Everything you need to know will be down below the video in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves an awesome rest of your week, and I'll see you all on Monday. Toodles!